3, 2. Hello, welcome back to the 6th episode of the Triboro Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Alonzo. I'm joined by my suicidal co-host, Nick O'Brien.
That's
How are
me.
you doing?
Not good.
Not good?
We'll talk about it in a few, but not good.
Not good?
No. But we changed where we are.
We changed where we are, yes. We're experimenting.
We are experimenting.
Part of that was like the audio. We also just want to have like a better setup overall.
So let us know what you think.
Definitely let us know. Yeah.
But I'm not doing okay.
You're not doing okay?
But we'll talk about that in a few.
Yeah, just gonna go over the series recaps of the Yankees 2-1 series win over the Phillies and the series the Mets played.
It's really weird because the Mets had like 3 days off.
They did. Was it gonna be 4?
Now it's gonna be 4. It's really weird how MLB made their schedule, but
goddamn Rob Manfred.
We'll talk about it. I guess
it's gonna be weird.
Yes,
just one note.
Definitely.
No Manhattan this week because we're gonna be doing like that every other week.
Yes.
And one thing I want to talk about in the intro, just because I thought it was such a great story, Liam Hendricks beat cancer.
Yes.
I thought that was
I saw that.
That doesn't have to do with the Yankees or Mets, but I just thought that was such like a good story.
Yes.
That like we should like at least mention
definitely.
it. Like,
I like that.
It's
a pretty big story. Just around baseball in general. I mean, Liam Hendricks is one of the more dominant closers.
One of the more likable guys too. He's hilarious
I
when
love
he's
him.
like mic'd up.
When he's mic'd up, and he does not he does not censor himself at all, which is great. But no, it's really great to see.
I remember, what was it, 2019? He was dropping F-bombs when he was mic'd up during the All-Star game.
Yeah, he was even doing that. Was it last year?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, but no, it's really great to see. Just for forget about him coming back to the mound, just for him as a person. Yeah. Really happy for him. But the White Sox must be ecstatic as a baseball team, and I'm ecstatic since he's on my fantasy team. So Liam, come back strong. I'm rooting for you. Yeah. But I think really good. But
I got out of PT, and I just like went on my phone. I checked Twitter because that was during the game today, the beginning, and the first thing I saw was Liam Hendricks just ringing the bell. So I was like, that's awesome. Yeah, so I just figured that
cool.
definitely should be mentioned. And
definitely.
Yeah, we're gonna start with
We'll start with the Mets' weird 3 days off.
Yeah. So it's gonna be not a lot to talk about.
Not a lot to talk about, but we'll see you in Queens.
We'll get into it.
Now entering Queens.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Queens. It's been a very weird week. 3 days off for some reason.
Wait, if we had 3 off days, why were you reacting to stuff?
I was watching other games.
You were watching other games?
Yeah.
You were caring about that
Cubs
Reds?
The Cubs
you were
Reds
really going
game,
crazy
yes.
on that?
I was very
into it.
Very passionate about the Cubs. Anyways, getting into it. First off, brought to you by Triboro MD, injury report for this week. So Tommy Hunter, who we'll talk about in a few, on the 15-day IL for back spasms. He's dealt with back issues in the past, but this might be a case of a phantom IL stint, but I'll talk about that in a few.
Can I just cut you off for a second?
Go ahead.
If you hear us say 10 and 15-day IL at different points, that's because pitchers go on a 15-day IL, hitters go on a 10-day. It's just a way to because how it used to be is that you could just kind of manipulate it, where if you want to give them a rest for a start or two, you could just put them on the 10-day IL, then they miss one start, and then they're back. So that's kind of just a way to not be able to manipulate that, but continue.
But regardless, next up, Bryce Montes de Oca was transferred to the 60-day. Like I mentioned last episode, he did have Tommy John earlier, so he's going to be out for the year. So 60-day IL frees up a 40-man roster spot, which they then used on Denny Reyes, right-handed pitcher. He came up in relief in the second game. That definitely happened. But then next one, which is a bit more, I guess, up there on the importance scale. It kind of sounds mean, but Brett Beatty. He left yesterday's game due to right thumb discomfort. So he took a swing, and he kind of just was a bit late to get back into the box, kind of waving his hand around, shaking his hand off. So they did testing today. Thankfully, no structural damage. But there is right thumb inflammation, so he's day-to-day. Obviously, he's still in the minors, so this is still minor leagues. But important to note, he did have UCL surgery on that right hand last season when he came up. So looks like he'll be fine, but just something to keep an eye on, kind of keep in the back of your head. He did have surgery on the hand, but it might just be his thumb. So 2 thumbs up, maybe we'll be okay. And hopefully he'll be in the majors soon. I'll talk about that in a few.
I could give like a silver lining.
What?
It may almost be... You may almost take this injury because he's out for a little bit. Say he gets... Because personally, I think they're doing like the whole service time manipulation game with him. It may be better that he has this. Because say that he tears his ACL. You know what I mean? Or like a drastic injury would have happened instead. Yeah. So it's like, this isn't that concerning, but it is definitely something to monitor, like you said, because like the old surgeries and all that.
Yeah. So I'll talk about him in a few. But then next up, earlier today, a couple hours ago, Justin Verlander had some more imaging. Did show reduced inflammation in that Therese major strain, that fake muscle that he apparently strained. But
professional medical opinion, not a real muscle.
Not a real muscle, doesn't exist. But no, he'll continue to throw, so he's making progress. Hopefully we'll see him soon. But that's it for the injury report. So the Mets did play games, but they might as well have been off. They had their 3-game set with the Milwaukee Brewers, and nobody decided to show up.
Well, Dennis Santana did.
Dennis Santana.
We love you, Dennis.
We love you. He had a scoreless appearance, so thank you for that.
That was it.
Because scoreless appearances were rare to come by in this series, I guess.
Not for the
Brewers. Not for the Brewers, though. But I guess we'll get into it. They did get swept, so this is going to be
therapeutic for
yes,
Mr.
this
O'Brien.
is not going to be a fun episode to record for me. But regardless, Game 1, Carlos Carrasco, Freddie Peralta. Oof, not great. Carrasco went 4 innings, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. Silver lining, there was not a lot of hard contact. He didn't help himself with the 4 walks. But after the 3rd inning, his velocity dropped a couple of ticks. He was averaging like 91, 92 on his fastball. By the time he ended, he was averaging like 89. So that's definitely concerning. As much as Buck or Carrasco himself would kind of shove it off. I was like, oh, it's nothing, ramping up again. That's extremely concerning.
Do you think
that
could be a pitch clock thing?
Yes, I'll after the whole summary, I'll kind of talk about that. So yeah, he let up 5 runs, and then Tommy Hunter came in to pitch. He also let up 5 runs in 2 innings pitched. Like I mentioned earlier, he's now on the IL. He did pitch 2 innings. He did not look great. That's why I'm thinking maybe a phantom IL stint just to get a fresh arm in the pen. But yeah, he's on the IL. Freddie Peralta.
Can I explain something really quick?
Oh, go ahead.
The reason why that they would put him on the IL instead of just like say sending him down, even if it's like a thing regardless of options, the way it works is you could only call a pitcher up 15 days into the season. Like you have to wait those 15 days unless it's for an injury. Right. So they would have had to wait how much? Like 10 more days? Right. 8 more days? Something like that. So like this is kind of a way to like get around that.
Yeah, it's like a loophole, I guess. Yeah. But Freddie Peralta, Mets kind of had him on the ropes in the 1st inning. They had 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs. And McNeil popped up and ended the inning. But then after that, he settled right in, going 6 scoreless innings, only letting up 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. They had him early, or they could have had him early, but they didn't get to him, and he settled right in like it was nothing. But quickly, just for the scoring summary.
All right, game 2.
That was it. Overall, this game was horrible. The Mets had 3 hits the entire game. I believe 2 of them came from Yorme. And one of them came from someone else. Mm-hmm. They did not look good. Carrasco did not look good. Tommy Hunter did not look good. They lost. I'm sorry, I didn't even say. They lost 10-0. Carrasco, I am very concerned about Carrasco. Mm-hmm. It could be a pitch clock thing. He did have trouble with it in spring training. You know, he is on the older side, kind of teaching an old dog new tricks type of thing.
And also just the thing of, like, with those older guys, they typically need more time in between pitches to, like, rest, really get back to that 100%. Right.
So the velocity dip does concern me. You know, like you said, maybe it is just, he couldn't really catch his breath. Maybe he's just not, he just doesn't have it anymore.
No.
You know, it's kind of one of those things where it is his first start, so.
You give him some benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you give him the benefit of the doubt, but it's definitely something I'm concerned about, and it's definitely something I want to keep an eye on. He kind of just hit a wall after that third inning. He kind of just, again, an 89 miles per hour fastball.
No,
you're not going to do much
That's like
with
a
that.
tick higher than BP.
Right, you're not going to do much with that.
No. The one thing I did want to say, and I'm curious because I think the Mets are going to do this at one point, especially with Verlander, Carrasco, Scherzer. I know the Yankees have kind of been using mound visits as loopholes. Right. Around, like, the pitch clock to just, like, give the pitcher the breather. Yeah. Let them get back. I think the Mets are going to start doing that. I'd watch out for that.
Probably should. I feel like kind of not necessarily I'm against it, but someone like Scherzer might be against it, where he's, like, in the zone. Kind of like if Jeremy Hefner tries to come up, you kind of look at him like, back off. Like, I got it.
That would almost help, though. Because you're giving him, like, 10 seconds to breathe.
Fair.
And you're also getting them pissed off.
True. Maybe. But again, this game, the Mets did not come to win. They got completely outplayed. They got out-hit. They got out-pitched. They got out-baseballed by the Brewers. They looked completely lifeless. It was an absolutely pathetic.
What's the Brewers' mascot's name?
I have no idea. But
he got more.
His
he
back
played
must
baseball
be hurt.
better.
Yeah, his back must hurt from going down that slide all the time. If you guys don't know, the Brewers celebration for hitting home runs, their mascot goes down a little slide. He was going down quite a bit this series.
He definitely threw up just because of how dizzy he got.
He must have. But again, it was just an absolutely pathetic showing by the Mets. But don't worry.
It gets worse.
Yeah, it gets worse. Game 2. Max Scherzer versus left-handed pitcher Wade Miley. Already a red flag. Max Scherzer, 5 innings in the third, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. His velocity also dropped a tick. Not as much as Carrasco, but like 0.2, 0.3, 0.5. So I'm more willing to write that off. And kind of like how Carrasco hit a wall in the 4th inning, Scherzer hit a wall in the 6th inning, just like he did in opening day. So again, I think this is probably a pitch clock thing. Scherzer, Carrasco, all you older guys, get on the treadmill. You're going to have to work on the cardio a little bit, it seems. But he looked like he just hit a wall. He couldn't locate his fastball. He was hanging breaking balls left and right. That's how they went. The Brewers went back to back to back on Max Scherzer on 3 separate hanging breaking balls.
Was it 3 straight pitches, or was it?
No, I think there was a few pitches in between, but still, he was hanging breaking balls left and right.
No, we're not gonna.
No, we're just gonna move past it. And he could not locate his fastball. He, again, like Carrasco, he did not look good. Brooks Raley came in later in the game. He also imploded because, of course, he did. He pitched an inning. He gave up 4 hits, 4 runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. 9 runs between 2 pitchers, and 5 of them came from the guy you were paying $43 million from. The guy
and the other guy that is one of like the bigger moves you made to help the bullpen
in
the offseason.
Because God forbid the Mets sign a lefty. They traded for Brooks Raley from the Rays because he's a great left-handed pitcher, and he blows up.
No. Never traded with the Rays.
He looked good in the past appearances, but just like everybody, I guess, that was just the theme for this series. Everyone looked like crap. But I'll talk about it more once I get through the summary. Wade Miley. 6 shutout innings. Outdueled Max Scherzer. These Mets cannot hit lefties for the life of them. I will say Wade Miley doesn't throw gas. He's like he's one of those guys
a lefty
that can
cranky?
he's one of those guys that can get away with an 89 miles per hour fastball because he has nasty breaking stuff. The Mets were in front of everything. They were early on the curveball, early on the slider, and then they weren't ready for the fastball. Wade Miley completely fooled these Mets, and they made them look absolutely unprepared. Real quick, scoring summary for the Mets.
Hi, Mom.
So that's how the Mets did that game. Overall, another horrible performance all around from the Mets, from pitching to hitting, even a couple of defensive misplays. I'll give McNeil the benefit of the doubt because his leg got caught up in some grass. 8 hits, which is better than 3. 6 of those came from Nimmo and McNeil. Nimmo had 3, McNeil had 3, all 3 singles. All 8 hits were also all singles. So you're just hitting singles throughout a 9-inning game 8 times, not doing anything with it. So 2 other guys besides McNeil and Nimmo got hits. Again, Mets lost 9-0. And you're paying Scherzer $43 million. He blew up in the wild card. His opening day outing was not great, but not bad by any means. He went 6 innings, 3 earned runs. You're paying this guy $43 million, and he's talking about the pitch clock like, I'm going to use it to my advantage. I'm going to use it for this. I'm going to use it for that. And now it looks like he's having issues with it, which I know he's publicly said he likes the pace everyone's going at. He doesn't like the clock itself. He likes the pace, doesn't like the clock. So for a guy who likes playing mental games, I think the clock is getting in his head. I think he's having issues with it. I feel like a lot of our pitchers, a lot of the older guys are having issues with it, which I get. It's new. It's going to take some time to adjust, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But you just got to adjust. It's like I don't want to be that guy, like just deal with it, but you got to. Like
sink
look,
or swim.
Right. It's look at like these times of games, like 2.5 hours more offense. You want to help grow the game. You want to help make baseball popular again. This is helping. So you just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
You got to learn. You got to you want to fix your pregame routine. You want to fix how you pitch throughout the game. I don't care. Figure it out. That's where it comes down to.
You're getting paid $43 million. Use some of that to hire someone like a mental coach to like help
mental
you out.
coach. Get like the best new treadmill on the market. Figure it out. Like, I'm sorry. Scherzer is a great pitcher. He's competitive. I love to see that. Figure it out.
Yeah. There was something interesting. I'm kind of just going to allude to it, and I'll talk more about it in the Bronx. It's almost like him and Cole swapped what Cole did last year to start.
Right.
With, like, the mind games and stuff. I'll get more into that later, but that almost, like, you know what I mean by that?
Yeah. But, again, it's just no offense once again. I said it last episode. They were going to get shut out by Wade Miley because he's a left-handed pitcher, and the Mets just disappear when there's a lefty on the mound. On to Game 3, where they faced 2021 Cy Young winner, Corbin Burns, one of the better pitchers in the game.
He also had a really good year last year as well.
He did. But talk about him in a little bit. David Peterson pitched this game. He went 4 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts. 5s across the board. He could not control anything, especially his arm side fastball. What I mean by that, an arm side pitch for a lefty, he was missing outside to righties, inside to lefties. So kind of like where his arm throws, it's kind of just staying straight, not
to
moving.
the left side of the box if you're looking at it from the
pitcher's mound. If you're watching the game, you're looking from the pitcher's mound, he's missing to the left side. He could not control his fastball. It was going outside, it was going up, it was going down. It shows 5 walks in 4 innings. I mentioned it how many times in last episode, and the episode before that, and the episode before that, that Peterson's issue was his control, and it showed today.
Yeah.
The bullpen, wasn't great either in this game. I mean, Drew Smith gave up the lead. I know they had a lead. Let me just preface that. They had two. Yeah, they did. They had two leads. They blew both. We'll get into that when I get into the scoring summary that actually happened this time. Drew Smith gave up the lead to fan favorite Jesse Winker. Of course he did. And then,
wait, what's your fantasy team's name?
My fantasy team is Jesse Winker Fan Club.
Mm-hmm.
I do like him as a player. I think he's a good player. He's gonna have a nice bounce back year. But if he could just not hit against the Mets, that'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then Buck decided to use Robertson in the 8th inning for the bottom of the order. David Robertson, who is your now closer, you're using him in the 8th inning. And I know the Brewers have been hitting these pitchers around silly in this series, but you're using your closer in the 8th inning for the bottom of the order. I would be okay with it if it was the top of the order, but are you kidding me? You're using him in the 8th inning, the bottom of the order, when you have a game within reach. And then
it was tied, right?
It was tied at that point. Then he brought in Ottavino for the 9th, and guess what? Walk-off home run to Garrett Mitchell. I don't understand that reasoning. He said after.
Completely agree.
Yeah, he said after in an interview, like post-game, whatever, he doesn't want to pitch guys back-to-back days because so many games. Ottavino pitched the day before.
Yeah.
So you don't want to pitch guys back-to-back days, but you want to pitch Ottavino? You had Steven Nagosic up at one point when Peterson was struggling. So why couldn't you bring in Steven Nagosic after Peterson?
Mm-hmm.
Make him go 2 innings. Then you could bring in Drew Smith, who hasn't pitched. Then you have Robertson. So you say you don't want to pitch guys back-to-back days, and then you bring in Ottavino, and he gives up the game, essentially.
No.
So I don't understand that.
And it's also a thing of, out of the two of them, David Robertson is a lot more reliable. Ottavino has like a tendency to like just give up a home run randomly, but
right.
Robertson's not going to give up that home run.
Yeah.
He's a lot more reliable
Right.
in that sense. And with Ottavino's stuff, it's not that hard for him just to hang a slider. That happened so many times for the Yankees.
Right, and Garrett Mitchell's a left-handed hitter, and he throws a slider down and in. Tell me, what's the number one rule when you're pitching to left-handed hitters?
If you're a righty, don't throw down and in.
And he threw down and in, and Garrett Mitchell crushed it.
If you want a visualization, watch Tiger Woods highlights with his driver. That is what happens when you throw down and in as a righty to a lefty.
Yeah. So, I don't get it. I'm not a fan of the decision making in this game, but Corbin, again, like I said, Corbin Burns pitched this game. Cy Young candidate. 6 runs in 4 innings. But you couldn't touch Wade Miley.
Yeah.
I hate when I'm right.
I don't know who to blame. The game today, you blame it on pitching, 100%.
Yes.
But the other 2 games, I don't know who to blame it on.
Everybody.
Because no, but I'm saying if you had to pick.
If you had to pick somebody,
I don't know.
I would say offense. But at the same time,
the pitching gave up 19 runs in 2 games. Because
right.
It's a thing of, as the offense, you gotta score and keep up with the pitching. But if the pitching is giving up that many runs, it's not even keeping it competitive for the offense.
Right.
So it's like, who do you blame for the first 2 games? I would say for the pitching, you go, or for the series, you blame pitching.
Yeah.
Just because at least the offense showed up 1 game.
Right.
You can't say that for the pitching.
Yeah.
Except for Dennis Santana.
But again, Burns 6 runs in 4 1/3 innings pitched. A Cy Young candidate, and you hit him around like it was nothing. But you couldn't hit the slow throwing lefty.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand what's wrong with this team when it comes to lefties. You have Alonso, who's a righty power hitter. You have Marte, who's a righty. You have Nimmo, who hits lefties good, just like McNeil. You have Canna, who's a right-handed hitter. You have Escobar. He's not playing well, but he's a switch hitter, and he hits lefties well.
Mm.
What's the issue?
Yeah.
I was hoping that going to this season, turn a new leaf, you start fresh, because last year they really had trouble with lefties, and that's still the same.
Mm.
I know you're bringing in the same lineup, so yes, you kind of need to expect it, I guess. But you have all these hitters who hit lefties well, but then when there's a lefty on the mound, they just shut down.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
And that almost begs the question if you bring up Brett Beatty.
Yeah.
How was that gonna?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Beatty's
Also
a lefty. He's hit not as well as righties,
Jinx, by the
obviously. Huh?
Jinx, by the way. Not cool.
There's no red, there's no blue.
Touch red.
Touch red, touch blue. Anyways.
Nick.
Yeah. Beatty's a lefty. He doesn't hit lefties as well as righty, but he keeps it competitive. You know, he can hit off lefties.
Yeah.
Last year when he came up, Max Fried was pitching in a game, in like his second game up. He hit a missile off of him, who just it was just a line out. But he makes hard contact against lefties. And from a rookie, someone that young, that's all I want to see. So he's not going to shut down against lefties.
Okay.
That's really where I'm getting at. But to get to the actual scoring summary, since there's one to go through, in Lindor, RBI double scores Marte. Then another Lindor RBI single scores Marte. Alonso hits a 2-run home run off of Burns. And then, like an inning or two later, Alonso again hits another 2-run home run. So
Was
Lindor
that
and
off Burns,
Alonso.
or was that
This was all off Burns.
Okay.
They scored all their runs in this game off of Burns. But once
in 4 innings, you said?
4 1/3.
Okay.
So, but once the Brewers got to their bullpen, gone.
No.
And you know which side pitcher was the first one out of that bullpen?
A righty?
No, it was a lefty, and they couldn't score off of him. Overall, I just want to put this in perspective. Alonso and Lindor in this game, they went 5 for 8, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 6 RBI, which was all their runs, and 4 runs. The rest of the lineup, 2 for 25, 3 walks, which was all from Vogelbach, 4 strikeouts.
I'm sorry, just 3 walks from Vogelbach. That made me.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
All those walks were just from Vogelbach.
Yeah.
I will say, this was a much more enjoyable game than the past 2. It was a competitive loss. You lost by 1 run instead of 9 and 10. So good job, Mets. You didn't get blown out this time.
You know, like that gold shooting star meme? It's like, congratulations.
You did your best.
Yeah.
Thanks. For better or for worse, this offense is going to only go as far as Alonso and Lindor can take them. And that's prevalent today. These guys, I mean, there's a reason. I know RBI is kind of a controversial stat to look at. But there is a reason why these 2 guys had over 100 RBIs last season. These guys are going to be the ones driving runs in. These guys are going to be the mainstays in your lineup. These guys are what's going to drive your lineup. Baseball is not a singular man's sport. It's a team sport for a reason. One man cannot win you a game unless you're Shohei Ohtani.
Yes, then you quite literally.
Then you quite literally
you could literally
can.
do it all.
Right.
No.
But no. So this offense is going to only go as far as these guys can take it. Last year, obviously I'm going to support my team, and their offense was good, but they hit a wall in like September going into the playoffs. I'm no longer this confident in this Mets offense. You can only rely on these 2 guys for so much. Someone needs to step up. And if someone doesn't step up, there's kids waiting. That gets into my next thing. Today, Luis Guillorme started third base over Eduardo Escobar. I love Luis Guillorme. He's a great guy, great clubhouse guy. He's not a good hitter. He plays stellar defense. Amazing defense. He's a living highlight reel on the field. He's not a good hitter. It's the
Which isn't his fault. That's just not
no,
his game.
that's not his game. He's a backup infielder, defensive replacement. He's gonna start a couple games for you, and he'll be serviceable.
He's great at his job.
Yes. You're already benching Escobar for Luis Guillorme. I love Escobar, and you guys have heard me defend him this entire time, hoping for a bounce back. This says a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot that goes into this. If you're already going to bench Escobar and you're going to put him into a platoon,
Yeah.
you already know what I'm going to say.
Yeah. How are you going to... Well, first
Go
off,
ahead.
before you get into that, how do you platoon a switch hitter? Continue.
Right. I mean, he hits lefties better than righties, so...
But the whole point of being a switch hitter is that you can
hit from
play
both
every
sides.
day because
Right.
you can play against anyone.
But if you're putting him into a platoon already, it's time to call Beatty. I know he just got hurt. Hopefully he's fine. But if you're already doing this, then what's stopping you? I know you think it's the service time thing.
Because why else wouldn't he have made the opening day roster?
I know. I don't know.
That's the only like. There is no reason. Beatty and Volpe had the same spring in terms of they did everything they could to prove they could be on the opening day roster. Volpe almost wasn't because they want. A lot of people are saying like, oh, they manipulated service time. It literally took every single person to bully Brian Cashman into not doing the service time manipulation for him to be on the roster. So that's the only reason why I think he wasn't on. He did.
Yeah.
He proved he was ready. There was nothing more he could have done.
Yeah.
And it's a stupid game that there's no way around it.
I know, and it's frustrating because I want to see Escobar succeed. Like, don't take the storm away. Like, get rid of him, cut him. I think he can still be useful as a utility right-handed DH type, which I've said from the start. Beatty earned his spot. Escobar lost it. That's the end of the story. You know, he didn't perform in spring. He didn't play much in the WBC. And when he did, he hit one home run.
No.
Not much going on for him. It's extremely frustrating because you have these kids who maybe not necessarily ready.
At
but
least we'll have like that energy and like that excitement.
It's something to spark this team. How many times do you hear, how many times do you see articles of the old man Mets, how old this team is? This team needs some young guys.
Home jokes have I made?
Exactly. This team needs some young guys. Bring up Beatty. Bring up Vientos. Mauricio's not there yet.
He had 2 home runs today.
He did have 2 home runs today, but I'm still concerned about his on-base skills.
Just something to know.
But yes, Alvarez is lurking. I know you signed Narvaez. I know you have Nito.
It's a great word.
But Alvarez is lurking. He's there, and he's making it known. He had a home run today, and 5 men have tried to steal on Alvarez. 2 have been successful.
Can I cut you off for a second?
Go ahead.
When you said lurking, all I could think about is him with one of those like massive trench coats on, a hood over him, and it's just like his face is like blacked out by a shadow, and you just see like 2 white things of his eyes, and he's just in like an alleyway like this, just like looking like in the shadow,
waiting for his spot, waiting to strike, waiting for his opportunity to be a part of this team. I want Escobar to succeed. I'm not saying call Beatty up now. Obviously he's hurt, but whatever. The Mets should have a very, very, very short leash with Escobar. If he's not performing by mid to end April, he had his time.
I think if he's not performing by the deadline for the extra year.
Yeah. And look, it sucks because he's such a likable guy. Escobar the person.
We are not talking bad about Escobar the person.
No.
Let's just say that.
Yeah. Escobar the person is fantastic. I can't watch the player. He has 2 hits in 20 at-bats. Small sample size.
He's on the interstate.
Yeah, but 2 hits, both singles. He struck out like 7, 8 times. He's walked once. No extra base hits. And it has to suck for him because he knows. You would be a fool to think that he doesn't pay attention to this. He knows that Beatty's there, that Beatty's lurking. He knows that more or less his job is on the line.
He's walking down the sidewalks. He's looking into the alleys. He's just seen a bunch of people.
Like, you know when you're walking down like the sidewalk late at night in the city,
and you're just
and your hair at the back of your neck is kind of standing up. You're kind of looking over your shoulder. That's what Escobar. And Beatty's that weird guy with a bag chasing you down. And that bag is offensive production. But
and
I
inside
digress.
that bag, he has a baseball bat that he's going to
whack him with. But no, I digress. This lineup needs more than Alonso and Lindor. McNeil's going to do his thing. Actually, it brings up something else I kind of forgot. I feel like all the guys, besides today, all the guys who went to the WBC, I feel like are getting off to slow starts. Alonso he got 2 home runs today, but before that, wasn't really doing anything. Lindor.
Didn't he have a big home run in Miami? Or am I thinking of someone else?
No, he had a home run in Miami, but it was just like you're down 2-0. 2-0. They made it 2-1. You still lost.
Oh yeah, because the Jazz. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Continue.
Alonso until today, not much. McNeil, he was in the WBC as well. Not much from McNeil. Escobar, WBC. Not much. So it begs the question of, the season starts, you maybe start off hot, but maybe cool off May, June. Are they already getting in that funk because they started playing competitive, meaningful games?
I don't think so. I have a different argument. First off, let me just say, George Washington, I don't know after the Yankee game. I know going into the Yankee game, he was hitting 400 on the season.
We're talking about Trey Turner, by the way.
Trey Turner. That's George Washington to you.
Yes. Sorry, Mr. President.
I honestly think it's a thing of you go from not playing baseball. You go from spring training, a week, 2 weeks,
right,
to playing this just insanely adrenaline-packed baseball. And then it's almost like going from the playoffs into spring training.
Right.
It's almost like the regular season start out feels like spring training because they didn't have that spring training. So I don't think they played competitive baseball. I think that it was just the adrenaline and all that. And you know what I'm saying?
The energy isn't there.
Because they they did kind of get burnt out, but not necessarily because it was competitive baseball. It was because of the level of what it was.
You think because more of the fans, they kind of feed off that energy?
Yeah, because Mike Trout literally said it was the most fun he's had playing baseball.
Right. All right.
And stuff like you know where I'm coming from with that?
That makes sense. Yeah, but I don't want to say it's for everybody because I can't. But just from what I've seen, it does seem like the guys who played in WBC are getting off to slower starts. Ottavino played in the WBC. He gave up the home run today.
It may just be the Mets.
It might be because Torres is off to a fantastic start.
We're getting into that. Well, He didn't really play, but Acuna, Kyle Tucker, isn't Goldie doing pretty decent?
Yeah.
So
Arenado's actually Arenado's iffy.
Well, Arenado's always been one of those
Let me pull up his stats real quick since we're on the topic. Arenado, as of right now. Yeah, no, never mind. I lied. He's hitting 318.
Oh man, that sucks.
So it might just be, the Mets.
I think it may just be I don't want to say philosophy thing, but kind of how they approached the players. Kind of what I mean, where they didn't have the right preparation for them coming back.
Right.
Because it seems like everyone else's, if
fine.
anything, came off to a hotter start. They
sure.
kind of kept that momentum in.
Yeah, and just because you said the philosophy type thing, it reminded me that the Mets did change hitting coaches because Eric Chavez became the bench coach. So you do have a different hitting coach. Mm-hmm. So I doubt the philosophy changed that much because Chavez is still on the team. But what is this new hitting coach bringing? Like, is he bringing something else that's not working for them?
I feel like hitting coaches just don't matter.
Right.
I feel like teams will like hire and fire hitting coaches, and it literally just doesn't change.
It doesn't. I mean, look at the 2021 Mets.
Like,
They got into a funk in June. I think even before that they fired. I forget their hitting coach. They fired their hitting coach, and they brought in a new. I think they promoted their AAA coach or one of the minor league hitting coaches.
In system guy.
Right, in system guy, and nothing changed. It was the same thing. So I don't know what's wrong. The offense today is a good sign. The pitching didn't show up in Game 3. That's the theme of Game 3. The offense showed up. Let me rephrase. Alonso and Lindor showed up. The pitching did not. Peterson did not have a good game. All his issues I talked about. This start is essentially my issues with Peterson. I think he deserves to start, but he has to.
The leash is getting shorter and shorter.
And the other thing is, sure, you want to have a short leash on him. You have no one to replace him with because Quintana's out, because Verlander's out, because McGill's already in the rotation. So next up is Joey Lucchesi, who's coming off of Tommy John.
And doesn't have a real name.
And he's off to a slow start in AAA. So the Mets got commended for their pitching depth. I feel like each day
we were having that debate of like how you said you didn't like the Yankees pitching depth, and I said I didn't like the Mets pitching depth, and now look at like...
Right, but with the Mets pitching depth, they had fantastic... On paper, they have fantastic depth. Everybody and their mother got hurt.
So did the Yankees.
Right, but on paper, I think Peterson's a better pitcher than...
We're not getting... Because it's getting sidetracked.
Okay, fair enough. But...
Another time.
We could have an argument another time. But that pitching depth is getting thinner. That's where I'm getting at. So, and just like the bullpen spots are getting thinner. There's only so many guys you can send down and bring up because you have so many guys injured. So...
And 15 days is a long time to wait.
Right,
that is a long time.
It's 2 weeks. So this series was one to forget. Get it out of the way now. That's all I'll say. I'm not some other Mets fans, on Twitter, like the season's over. It was over 2 days ago. It was over last night.
And
but
then
it's back on today.
It was back on in like the 4th inning.
Yes, and then it ended again. But no,
Rob Manfred really is messing with the rules a lot this year.
I know. But it's one to forget. Get it out of the way now. Start off slow. I guess the Mets want to look at the Braves and the Phillies, and they want to start off slow and then catch up to them
I was going to
later.
mention this, too, that you guys always start out so hot and then fall off a cliff. This is – because this is always historically what the Yankees do. They start off slow, and they just fucking
yeah, they just hit another gear and off they go. Maybe. Again, only time will tell, but I would like to see that. But get into the next series preview. Another one of the fish we already saw. So kind of boring. Not much to say because besides one game, it's the exact same matchups we just saw. But regardless, the home opener tomorrow, or well, by the time you listen to this today, got postponed. So they are playing Friday instead of Thursday. Friday, it will be Tyler McGill versus Edward Cabrera, which we saw 5 days ago. The Mets won that game against Cabrera. He did walk 6 guys, so maybe that control is going to be more fine-tuned. I don't know how to feel. This series completely threw me off. Completely threw me off about the offense. Completely threw me off about the pitching. I think I've seen a lot of people question the postponement of the home opener. Whether or not it's going to rain that much to where they should have postponed it, I think they kind of took it as a chance to reset.
No.
Like, either way, even if it's going to drizzle tomorrow, take the day off, reset, hit the cage, look over some video, what went wrong, and go from there. I think it's going to be a good reset day for these guys. And, you know, it's the home opener on Friday, so I hope they come out running. But Game 2, which was Saturday, Kodai Senga and Trevor Rogers, same matchup we saw
4 days ago.
Yeah. Senga, really excited to see again. You know, he had a good outing. Hopefully the nerves are a bit lower. We'll get to see that ghost fork in Citi Field, so that'll be fun. Trevor Rogers is a lefty, but they did hit him last time.
Not
so
starting him again this week.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
Told you. But he is a lefty. They hit him last time, so hoping more of the same. And then Game 3, Carlos Carrasco versus To Be Determined. To Be Determined, fantastic pitcher. This might be a really tough matchup for them. But no idea who the Marlins are throwing out yet. They might, because Johnny Cueto got hurt, so they might have to bring someone up. So not sure who's pitching that game, but Carlos Carrasco, I think, storyline for him is where is his velocity going to be at, and how long is he going to go out there. But besides that, again, a series to forget for the Mets. It was very, very hard to watch these past couple days. They looked completely outplayed. But I'm hoping tomorrow is a good reset day for them, and they come out running at Citi Field. Yeah,
just got to hope the home opener, just something there, just like...
Feed off the energy, just
something
to get them rolling. But besides that...
Rather second series of the year than last series.
Exactly.
So.
But besides that, that's all I got for Queens, so...
No. We're about to get into the Bronx, where it's going to be a lot more
It'll be a lot more
upbeat, a lot more fun, a lot more interesting things to talk about, and see you guys there. Welcome back to Not the Bronx.
Not the Bronx. I just stopped recording, looked at my phone, and a little bit of breaking news, I guess. Francisco Alvarez is joining the team on Friday, just in case they need to activate him. Omar Narvaez left the last inning of the game because he kind of tweaked his calf. So I guess they're flying from Syracuse down to the city. So he's going to be there Friday just in case they need to activate him, just in case Narvaez is going to miss time. But if Narvaez misses time, like I said, this team needs some young blood in the jolt, and Alvarez might just bring that. So just a tidbit to add.
Yes.
Because it literally
making
just
my
happened.
job harder as the editor.
But now we'll see you in the Bronx.
Unless something else happens in this 2-minute span.
Now entering the Bronx.
Hello and welcome to the Bronx.
The Bronx.
So a lot better, a lot more positive.
Yeah.
Here than Queens. The Yankees won their series, 2 out of 3 games against the Phillies.
Thank you. So at least that helps.
Yes. So we'll start off with the Triboro MD injury update. Or the injury update brought to you by the Triboro MD. And nothing really until today. Like, there's no updates on, like, Rodon, Bader, any of those guys. Something to note, Donaldson, he grounded out when he was running to first. Kind of, like, held his hamstring, kind of, like, limped.
One of those hop, skip, and a jump, holding your hammy kind of things.
And something to note, I think almost to this date, in 2021, same thing happened.
Right.
Same hamstring, same that, so that could be, with him getting older, cause for concern. Especially he's not hitting well.
Right.
So that can be, like...
Maybe that's been bothering him.
No, I wasn't saying that.
Oh.
I'm just saying, like, he's already on a short leash, and then maybe not, like, out of the gate, but, like, when he comes back, his leash is going to be, like...
A lot shorter.
Like, he's going to have, like, a week, maybe.
Right.
And you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So, yeah, not really much on the injury front other than that. Did you see the video of Judge and Cashman?
I don't believe I did.
Oh, my God. This was hysterical. So, it was, I want to say Monday. So, they're just taking BP. Judge was, like, waiting. Cashman was talking to him. Judge is like talking, but he's getting like more and more emphatic.
Okay.
When he's talking to Judge, talking to Cashman, he's going like this, and he's like saying stuff. He's like pretty much like it looked like you can't hear anything, but it looks like he's like screaming at Cashman. He's like this, and like just like flailing his arms, and it's like, bro,
what's going on?
So like that's something
to be a fly on the wall,
dude. That is.
I did see him like playing around with Donaldson.
No,
you didn't see that?
No.
So like him and Donaldson were like squaring up, and they were like kind of like pushing each other, kind of. I was pretty funny.
That's more fun, but that Judge and Cashman, because we know like
interesting.
There was kind of something there with like Cashman revealing like the offer they made before the season last year.
Yeah.
And then that
maybe a little bad blood.
A little bit of bad blood about how he has to deal with Aaron Hicks starting in left field. Another thing is, I want to say it was, what's the name of Joel Sherman and John Heyman's podcast? The show.
Joel Sherman and John Heyman's podcast.
They were interviewing
the podcast.
Yeah, seriously. I wouldn't be surprised. They were interviewing the Yankees scouting director, who drafted like a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And, pretty much something that I saw was interesting was the Angels had the 23 pick when they drafted Mike Trout in 2012.
Okay.
The Yankees had 25. They were going to draft Mike Trout, but they also had that 23 pick the Angels had was a comp pick from the Yankees when the Yankees signed Mark Teixeira. So if the Yankees never signed Mark Teixeira, Mike Trout would have been a Yankee.
What a shame.
That is, I just thought that was like a really like.
That's probably one of the bigger what ifs.
I just thought that was like a pretty interesting tidbit.
Yeah,
that I ended up,
definitely.
Like, seeing. Also, how like he pretty much like, I don't remember who it was, but like he knew someone who was like really close to Volpe's family, and he pretty much like convinced Volpe to like go to sign with the Yankees instead of go to college.
Right.
I thought that was like also like pretty interesting.
Paying big dividends now.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for the stories. To start with the first game, it was a 8-1 win by the Yankees. The starters were Nestor Cortez versus Taijuan Walker. Just started. DJ LeMahieu showed the wheels. Started off with a leadoff triple.
Phillies defense.
Then I want to say Stanton Judge got on base, and Stanton ended up grounding out. DJ came home. Then Glaber knocked in Judge to make it 2-0. You're gonna hear his name a lot.
Yes, you are.
Then in the bottom, next line. Then in the bottom of the third, Glaber hit a home run to make it 3-0.
There you go.
Top of the fourth,
Edmundo Sosa
hit a base hit to make it a 3-1 game. Then Anthony Rizzo had his patented, I don't know if it's a home run or not. I just gotta wait for the umpire's call because you're like,
yeah, he's like using the force to like,
yeah, you're
pushing it. Yeah.
So that happened. Franchi Cordero, the most interesting man on the planet. He ended up. Oh wait, no, I forgot. Earlier in this game, I think it was an inning or two before. So a ball was hit to him, and was it at home? Yes, it was at home.
Oh, yeah, I know the play you're talking about. Yep.
And there's a runner on second. The runner's rounding third, going home. Cordero just airmails this ball. It goes way over Trevino's head. But Nestor is backing up Trevino. And then so Nestor, the runner's like, oh, it didn't get past him. So he starts going back to third. Then Nestor just fires a strike to third. Volpe has this like crazy tag and just... PFP. It was such a bad throw that it was good.
He used the wrong formula, but got the right answer.
Yes. And don't ask him to show his work.
Yeah.
And yeah, that Stanton Glaber scored on like that double that I was mentioning. Trevino ended up getting an RBI to make it 8-1. That's pretty much it for the scoring. Yeah. Pretty fun game. Mm-hmm. Nestor, I want to say he gave up one run, about 5 or 6 innings. I don't have the line in front of me. Taijuan.
Like the Thai. Juan.
Ducky Ty Walker.
Sure.
Ducky Ty Walker. Okay, I'm calling him that now. Yeah, he gave up about 4 runs. It kind of had the same trend the Yankees have had all year, where they get a guy on the ropes in the first inning. They make it like a run or two, but they don't knock him out. Yeah. Because one thing, I don't remember if I said it last episode, but I was talking to you about it, is that this Phillies bullpen is so depleted after what happened in Texas.
Yeah.
They got absolutely boat raced.
Yeah, like the Mets got messed up in Milwaukee.
It was nothing.
There's an argument to be made that the Phillies were much worse in Texas.
It's not an argument. It's not an argument. It was a lot worse.
Fair.
So, their bullpen is just shot. He ended up, I think, getting into the 5th inning,
right.
Which to me is like, we see that a lot with the Yankees, where they'll get a guy to have like a 30-40 pitch first inning, and then he just kind of, they let him calm down and go 4 or 5 innings, where over the long length of a season, that's going to really bite you.
Yeah.
You could definitely, if you could find a way to pile on, that's going to help them a lot. And
Definitely.
we've already seen that like 2 or 3 times this season. Just something I noticed, just wanted to, just in case that becomes more of a trend.
Right.
Game 2, the Phillies won 4-1. Top of the first, Domingo Germán decided to hang a fastball right down the middle of Schwarber. I didn't know you could hang a fastball until I see Domingo Germán hang a fastball to Kyle Schwarber.
And he deposited it right into the right field.
Yes. Shockingly, one of the biggest power hitters in the game, a fastball right down the middle to one of the best players into the league, or to one of the best parks in the league for a lefty to hit to.
Right.
Who would have assumed? Top of the third, he gives up another home run to a lefty, Brandon Marsh. And then I will say, in the 5th inning, it was 1 out, one runner on. And Volpe gets an easy double play ball. He kind of like thinks too far ahead. It's like in football where a ball's coming, you see the open field in front of you, pay attention on getting like the yards after catch, but then you drop the ball.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. He ended up getting out at second, and then kind of like the wheels fell off.
Yeah.
Then they put in Michael King. Michael King ended up giving up, or Domingo got another batter. That batter got on. I'm pretty sure he walked or he got a hit, whatever. And then Michael King came in, let up both those runs to make it 4-0.
Right.
Which just sucks.
Yeah.
Because that's a play Volpe definitely wants back.
Right. Yeah. And he took accountability for it too, which I think is fantastic to see for a rookie.
A 21-year-old.
The maturity there is
with all this pressure on him.
Like you said, I think it's one of those things where he went to throw the ball or went to transfer the ball before he had the ball.
Just thinking too far.
Way too ahead, yeah.
And then in the 9th inning, DJ LeMahieu hit a home run, and it was like, okay, whatever, it's 4-1. But then it got to the point where the tying run came up to the plate in Josh Donaldson.
Right.
I think he ended up striking out, but it's just like something we've seen in the last 2 losses. Oh, wait, no, it was Stanton. My bad, Stanton. Something we've seen in the last 2 losses is that they had the tying run come up to the plate in the bottom of the 9th.
Right.
So
they don't quit.
They don't. And something I've noticed, they've been roasting the ball.
Right.
Like I remember Stan, he's hit like I would say like 3 or 4 balls a series that were just like Stan exit velos, 105 plus, that just were right to someone.
Right.
So
a little unlucky, but
I think it'll almost regress to the mean soon.
Yeah. Where
they had, I think, like 14 or 15 walk-offs last year.
Right.
So they're showing that they're fighting back in these. I think that especially when you face a team like the Orioles or something with like a really bad pitching, I think it'll definitely regress to the mean. You'll definitely see more there.
You'll scrap out a couple more games.
I definitely agree. And so that's really it for that. Then Game 3, it was a 4-2 Yankees win, but it felt like it was a lot more than that.
Right.
Like it felt like it was like a 6-0 win.
Right.
So first off, Aaron Judge channeled his inner Ricky Henderson. He got a blue pit, then stole second, and then someone who I haven't really talked about much, Gleyber Torres, knocked him in.
Crazy.
And then, so I'm not laughing at Donaldson. So with Donaldson like hurting his hammy, IKF came in to play third. Immediately when he came in, it was a tough play, granted, but he threw a ball and Rizzo just couldn't get it, and Trey Turner ended up getting the first.
Right.
The reason why that's funny is because, one, I should mention, I forgot to say this, Garrett Cole was starting.
Yep.
The reason IKF, what knocked him out officially of the shortstop job, is he made an error in spring training behind Cole. And that was one of those trends that throughout all last season just happened. So you finally put him back in when Cole's starting, what is the first thing he does?
Right.
I just think
Another error.
that's so funny.
The ball's always gonna find him. It
Just-
seems like.
Yeah, that. Then in the sixth inning, another man I haven't been talking about, Glaber hits an RBI up the middle to knock in DJ to make it 2-0 Yanks. And then something I found funny is he stole second right away. Then that's it for the offense for then. Then in the top of the seventh, Garrett Cole was about around 100 pitches. He was 1 out into the sixth inning, had a full count on Nick Castellanos. Then it was kind of one of those weird things where him and Trevino were not on the same page. Cole just kept shaking him off, and he kind of just didn't realize where the pitch clock was.
Right.
So it was a pitch clock violation. Castellanos got the first because it was 3 balls.
Right.
And then Jonathan Loizaga came in, and he ended up giving up that inherited runner, which kind of sucks for Cole.
Right.
Because if that runner doesn't score, he literally would not have given up a run all year.
Right.
His ERA is up to .79. God forbid. The final line on Cole was 6.1 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Then the other scoring was a Jose Trevino 2-run home run in the 7th. I told you this. One of my favorite things about the Yankees is Jose. Then later in the game, who else but Yankee killer Kyle Schwarber hit another home run.
Everybody killer at this point.
I'm scared of that man.
So am I.
That's pretty much it for the recaps. Just some overall thoughts. I didn't talk about him in the recap because I didn't want to kind of kick a man when he's down. But
Right.
Aaron Hicks just, I used to hate so much on Aaron Hicks.
Yeah.
But now I'm at the point where I just feel so bad for the guy.
Definitely.
His mental health is in the gutters. It's at the point where you start feeling bad for him.
Yeah.
I think that it would benefit everyone, especially him, if he just somehow was on this team.
Yeah.
You just gotta cut ties. You gotta do the right thing for the person.
Right.
At one point.
I mean, he's made it for. I don't think. Not necessarily acceptable. I don't think it's right to kind of publicly come out and say, I'm not happy my playing time, blah, blah. I feel like that's a thing that should stay in-house.
I agree.
But regardless, he did come out and kind of say, I don't really know what my role is. I don't really know, what's my place here. So, I think at this point, you have to find a way to cut ties.
Yeah. You can have that conversation in-house. That's
Right.
fine. Everyone wants to play every single day.
Obviously, yeah.
So, in-house.
That's the other
going
thing.
to the media, it's
I don't know my role. I want to play. You want to play? Prove it. Not prove it, but
in 3 games, he doesn't have a hit.
Right. Show me that I should play you.
Yeah.
Give me a reason to play you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play you because
You're crying
put
about
me in,
it.
coach.
Yeah.
No, it's the majors.
It's not Little League.
No. So again, like you, I kind of feel bad for him at this point. He didn't deserve the left field job. He lost the left field job. So
IKF started in center over him on the first game of the series.
Right. So it's very telling what his role is, but only time will tell what they're gonna do with it.
I think a better question: who do you think gets cut when Bader comes back? Hicks or Franchi Cordero?
Probably Cordero.
Okay.
Just because Hicks is on a yearly contract and Cordero is just a.
Okay. No, I just because I
Pickup.
could see if it gets that bad and if Bader has a setback or something,
Right.
and it gets so bad with Hicks, I could honestly, and Cordero is the Matt Carpenter of last year.
Right.
I could see them
Just
cutting ties,
flat out cutting
or
him.
maybe trading him or something, but
Right.
him not being
Cutting
on the
times
roster.
in some way.
That's pretty much it. Well, the Judge captain moment, you saw that too.
Yeah.
So pretty much Aaron Hicks struck out, shocker. And then I literally told Nick this. It sounded like someone doubled the volumes on the microphone
Right.
in the stadium because
Yeah.
the boos just got
Roared.
insane.
Roared.
And Judge pretty much came up to him, patted him on the back, kind of said a joke, made him laugh,
Right.
land the mood. just-
Yeah, and kind of one of these, kind of hey, come over here type
great,
things.
Great moment.
Yeah. I think that's why Judge's the captain.
Exactly. There was something. I was listening to Talking Yanks, and they were interviewing Aaron Boone.
Right.
And something Boone said that I don't get why he's not being talked enough about. He sees Gleyber as a utility player in the lineup.
Like, as in, you can slot him in any...
Yes.
Okay.
So far this year, he has bat leadoff, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. In 6 games, he's been in 5 different positions in the batting order.
I don't not like it, but maybe not. But from a player's perspective, I feel like at one point you kind of want that consistency.
I agree.
Because like with someone like Marte, when the Mets signed him, he's never played right field. He was always like a leadoff hitter type guy. So it's said multiple times like, I don't care where you play me or where you bat me, but keep it consistent.
Yeah.
If you want to play me in right field, I'm playing right field every day. You want to bat me second, I want to bat second every day. So I'm not saying it's the same scenario, but maybe from a player's perspective, maybe eventually you're going to want that consistency. But regardless, it's great to have that.
I think it may be a little different because I think Gleyber is just happy to be in the lineup. He does not care where.
Fair.
Chip on the shoulder, Gleyber does not care about your feelings.
Right.
Personally, I'm just going to leave it like this quickly for the lineup thing. I like him 5th. I think that's the perfect spot for him, just with the way the lineup is constructed now. But if you do like Volpe lead off down the road, then maybe like 6th. Because I still think like LeMahieu above him, just because LeMahieu is just better. That's not a knock on Torres, but a healthy LeMahieu is like the second best hitter on this team.
Right.
And to go into the chip on the shoulder Gleyber. So 2018-2019 Gleyber was so good, and a lot of people believed it was because of the juice balls. There's been some data that may indicate, we're not saying one way or the other, that may indicate that the juice baseballs are back.
Right.
If juice baseballs are back, Gleyber Torres is going to go back to his 2018-2019 40 home run self.
Right.
I just want to say his numbers so far because they're just... He is hitting .421 with a 1.348 OPS, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 6 walks to 2 strikeouts.
Love that.
He has a 3 walk to strikeout rate.
Love that.
That is insane.
And especially if he's starting to steal more bases.
With the new rules.
That brings a whole nother component to his game.
Exactly.
And I love that.
And I think that's another reason, like we were saying earlier, or last episode, how I was saying trade Peraza.
Yeah.
The Yankees' best middle infield offensively, Volpe at short, Gleyber at second. Defensively, Peraza at short, Gleyber at second. There seems to be a common denominator here.
Yes, there is.
You're not going to start Peraza over Volpe. You're not going to start Peraza over Gleyber.
Right.
I know you were saying earlier, call him up as like a backup infielder if Donaldson does go on the IL.
Yeah.
I don't really like that. I just think I'd much rather him be getting at least some sort of at-bats just to like stay hot just in case they actually do need him to start.
No.
So I'd rather him...
I fully agree, by the way. If you're calling up the kids, you're playing them. That's kind of my philosophy on it. I think I only said to call him by utility because that's just how it fits, I guess.
Well, no, I was just like saying like that's.
No, definitely, but
you know,
if you're calling him up, he probably should be playing.
He doesn't, but that's the thing. Like, I would love that.
But who are you gonna start him over?
You can't start him over anyone. Like,
exactly.
Because he doesn't have the positional versatility that like an Oswaldo has, where Oswaldo could be playing anywhere.
He'll find his way in the lineup.
I didn't write much about him, but now remembering it, he just needs to be the starting left fielder. He should start in a position every single day.
Right.
It does not wear primarily in left, but if Rizzo needs an off day, he plays third, DJ plays second. If Volpe needs an off day, he plays short. If Gleyber wants an off day, he goes to second. He should be in the lineup every single day. I do not care if he's that pitcher. He should be in the lineup every single day.
I mean, he said he wants to try out catcher.
Yeah, just
but
he should be in the lineup every single day.
Definitely.
He is one of like 3 lefties on the roster, and then you have Hicks, who doesn't even count as a baseball player.
Right.
So it's just
yeah, no, definitely.
Cameo by Ryan in the background.
Say hi, Ryan.
Say hi, Ryan.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, as I was saying, just all that.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, like you said, he has the positional versatility to squeeze his way into the lineup one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's almost no excuse to not
And
have
he's just
him in the
awesome.
lineup.
He's so much fun.
I know.
The mini sort of shuffle and just
He's one of those guys that he's happy to be playing
the
baseball.
hookah shells. I love
It's
it,
great.
though.
It's great.
And then another point I have is it looks like DJ is back.
Yeah.
He is something I just want to like really emphasize. DJ LeMahieu in 2019 was one of the best players, was one of the best hitters in the American League. In 2020, I think he should have won the MVP over Jose Abreu.
Right.
He hit 370 with like a 1.1 OPS.
Right.
He should have won, in my opinion, while playing great defense, and the only hitter on the Yankees. I think he should have won the MVP that year. 2021, he had like an oblique ab, some sort of hernia that he had to get surgery in the offseason to correct. He was playing with that throughout the entire year. Last year, there was a point, a 2-3 month span, he had a 140 OPS plus. Then he had the toe injury.
Right.
A healthy DJ LeMahieu is the second best hitter on this team, unless Gleyber Torres decided he wants to be Jesus Christ himself.
Right. It deepens the lineup so much more.
So much.
And with a lineup not necessarily built, but with guys like Judge, guys like Stanton, Rizzo, who kind of, not necessarily Judge, but Stanton, Rizzo, guys like that, Donaldson, even kind of more power guys, to have that table setter or to have that guy you can rely to just get a knock when you need is...
Maybe even not a hit, but
Right.
like a walk, because he'll also take his walks. Not like
Yeah.
he's like, not throwing shade to McNeil, but I know
Yeah.
that like, McNeil, his thing is like he doesn't really walk.
He's
like,
very
he'd rather
aggressive.
But
Yeah.
DJ, he'll be patient and he'll take a walk.
Right.
Unless it's a position where it's a lot better to get a hit. Then
Yeah.
he'll go more for the hit.
Yeah.
And I don't have the numbers in front of me because I didn't expect to need them. But there was a stat where I think like 65% of Aaron Judge's home runs last year were solo shots.
Right.
Because no one was
No
getting
one's
on
on
base.
base.
So for him to get on base, DJ LeMahieu, when he's healthy, is, and this is crazy to say, like a 400 on base guy.
Yeah.
Like a 390, 400 on base guy. So that's so invaluable. I don't think it's going to be talked enough about enough, but just
When the offense starts rolling, if it hasn't already, we'll come back. You'll look at DJ's numbers, and he'll be right in the middle of it.
It'll be Judge because it's Aaron Judge.
All right.
And then DJ will almost be the guy that's doing all the dirty work that doesn't get the credit that he really should for being like a main part of it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Then kind of that's really all I had for the offense. Moving on to the pitching, and I kind of alluded to this in Queens. Short hair Cole seems to have a level of maturity that he did not.
Right.
Because opening day, he threw 4-pitch walk to, I think it was Lamonte Wade, was the leadoff hitter. He settled into that game, ended up going 6 innings, striking out 11. Then this game, I didn't see the exact play because I was at physical therapy. But I know I missed Aaron Nola, Garrett Cole. But there was a strike 3 that it should have been strike 3, but it wasn't. And Cole got like pissed at the umpire or whatever. That is something, I think Tommy texted me about that too.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that last year Garrett Cole, in the beginning of the year, would have had a meltdown.
Right.
He settled in, really should have given up no runs, gave up the 1 run, whatever.
Right.
Struck out 8 against the team that went to the World Series last year. This Cole, even like the IKF play, there were so many times last year where IKF would bobble a play and he would give up like 3 or 4 runs.
Right.
He was able, in that inning, he was able to get out of it with no harm done. This Cole seems a lot more mature, and if we have a mature Cole,
Right.
I think my Cy Young prediction may be a home run pick.
It's looking
If
better
he is-
each start, I will say.
Because he also seems a lot more like loose.
Yeah.
Like the thing with like the Nestor.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, the Yankees did like kind of a thing when Nestor was starting. It was kind of like, oh, imitate Nestor's windup. And Garrett Cole did a thing where he was pretty much bouncing on his right foot
Right.
leg
It was just
for
twirling
like 15 seconds,
all
like
around.
twirling like a ballerina.
Right.
And it's one of the funniest things.
Right. He seems a lot more, not necessarily comfortable, but
Comfortable.
Comfortable, yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to put it. And look, Jacob deGrom cut his hair, and he won a Cy Young the year after. So,
Exactly.
hey.
So some other things is Michael King, his velo was a little down.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that because his velo was fine in spring training.
Right.
But now it came down. I see some people saying it's an elbow. Boone or King, I forget which one. One of them said that they believe it's mechanical. So I'm going to give it time on that.
Yeah.
Going to give it like another week. Maybe by the next podcast, if his velo is back,
Right.
I don't have to worry about it. But if it's mechanical, should be an easy fix.
Yeah.
Relatively.
I mean, and what surgery did he have last year?
Surgery to repair a broken elbow. I don't know the exact. It was to
okay,
repair a broken elbow.
An elbow. So it could still be one of those lingering things. You know, if you break a bone, it's not just like, all right, fix, you're good to go.
Yeah.
There might be some things to linger, and it might be messing. He could be subconsciously,
I get what
like,
you mean,
not necessarily, but like babying his elbow because he broke it. And it's not necessarily because he wants to, but because his own body that's kind of holding him back.
It's very hard to go full tilt into doing something after you had a serious injury.
Yeah.
And something I wanted to just like add on to what you're saying, it is an old wives' tale that bones heal back better. They do not. They
Right.
have weak spots, and those weak spots can be exploited.
Right.
Ask my right leg. For those that don't know, I broke my leg. Day after I got out of the cast, I broke it again.
Right.
In 3rd grade.
So, and not necessarily the same thing, but it kind of just made me think of it. So Bryce Harper, you know, he had Tommy John for his arm. So I read something that he had batting practice, but the doctors didn't clear him to slide because they're afraid sliding will rupture his elbow. So it's just one of those things where, like, you know, it's the elbow. So for King, it might be one of those things where, like, it is a mechanical issue because his body is overcompensating.
'Cause a little mental.
Right. It might just be a mental thing. So I would write it
giving
off
him
for
time.
now. Definitely.
I would say, I said like a week earlier, but I just said we'll revisit in a week.
Yeah.
I think give it a month.
Yeah.
Because I think people don't realize baseball is like 90% mental,
Definitely.
especially over a long thing. So just definitely give him some time.
Yeah.
The last note I had is that the pen overall has looked really good.
Yeah.
Clay Holmes did not look good in his first outing against the Giants.
Right. But
Today he struck out the side.
he looked dominant.
He looked like wizard Clay Holmes again.
Yeah. He looked really good.
He did. So that's really it for all my notes. Looking ahead at the series. So, like the Mets, the Yankees were going to have a home opener this time for the Orioles tomorrow, but it ended up getting postponed. So now it's going to be Friday at 3:05. The matchup is Clark Schmidt versus Dean Kramer. Just some stats I have for Clark Schmidt versus the Orioles. He is 1-1 in 8.2 innings with a 2.08 ERA, 5 strikeout. That's mostly as a reliever. So pretty good numbers overall. Gonna be interesting to see how his cutter does second time through the order because that was like the whole thing. Where like the first time was
that was like the
unhittable,
big
and and then it just got like killed the second time.
So maybe he was tipping, maybe he
Yeah,
wasn't, but
I don't think it was tipping. I think it was
No?
more just like
mechanical.
they figured it out.
Okay. Yeah.
Dean Kramer, that's a real name.
Yes.
He is 1-3 against the Yankees with a 28. Not with
No. Ooh. Okay.
in
Okay.
28.2 innings pitched with a 5.34 ERA. So not good.
Still
but
high.
No 28.
but not at
with
28.
33 strikeouts.
Alright.
I think I remember a lot of people hitting home runs against him. I have like a vague recollection of him pitching like 3 times in Yankee Stadium last year and just getting like clobbered.
Lit up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's Orioles pitching.
Yeah.
That was like when we talked about like the off season. That was kind of like one of my bigger things. Like obviously, I'm a big pitching guy. I feel like it's pretty known.
Really?
Yeah, I know. You know, they probably moved back left field for a reason.
Yeah.
So, just keep that in mind.
Yeah. I think they win that game just because the Yankees like own the Orioles, especially
Right.
at what's it called? What stadium?
Camden Yards.
Camden Yards. Yes, thank you. So yeah, I'm predicting that as a win. Game 2 at Saturday at 7:05. I will not be running the social media account because I will be going to the game in Baltimore.
You'll be running it there. We'll get live reactions.
No, I will not be. I'll actually be sitting in the left field that got pushed back. That is, I got lucky.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting to see Nestor Cortez pitch versus Cole Irving. To put into perspective, I'll read Cole Irving's stats first.
Okay.
In 7 innings pitched, he's let up 5 runs. Small sample size, whatever. And I think that was when he was with Oakland.
Oakland, yeah.
Nestor Cortez is 3-0 against the Orioles. 34 innings pitched, 51 strikeouts. I want you to guess his ERA.
It's below 1, isn't it? No? Okay.
1.06.
1.06. Wow.
In 34 innings pitched.
Very nice, Nestor.
I remember last Easter, he had an immaculate inning against them. I remember that vividly because I was in the car. I was listening to it. John Sterling made the call. He didn't realize it was an immaculate inning. So I just had to see on Twitter everyone freaking out immaculate inning. I'm like, wait, John Sterling never said it was an immaculate inning.
Pick it up, John.
I think that's a free win. Not free. I'm not saying free win. I'm not saying free win.
Book it.
No. I think that's a game they will most likely win. Game 3 is Domingo Germán versus the Orioles. They just called him up. TBD.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he's going from Miami. I mean, from Citi Field to.
Yes. I heard it was a thing of they were between him and cash considerations to start the game, but they ended up going with TBD because of his track record.
No, I know. Cash considerations has some pretty high upside, though.
He does. Look at Gio Urshela. Gio Urshela was traded for cash considerations.
Puts into perspective.
Exactly. So pretty much since we don't know TBD's numbers versus the Yankees, Germán's numbers versus the Orioles, 6-1 in 48.2 innings with a 2.4 ERA and 47 strikeouts.
All right.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
I will say this, as much as I don't like the guy because he's a horrible person, he looked really good against the Phillies.
Yeah.
I think it was his curveball was like absolutely disgusting. It struck out like 6 people.
Right.
And if he's gonna have a good outing,
it'll be against the Orioles.
It's gonna be against the Orioles.
Right.
So, who knows? It's always hard to say sweep a series, but
baseball's a crapshoot.
I think if you're gonna say a series sweep, it's gonna be
against the Orioles.
Yeah,
definitely.
And speaking of that, I have how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters stat lines versus the Orioles. Aaron Judge in 87 games is hitting 310 and 35 home runs against the Orioles. Gleyber Torres in 69 games is hitting 317 with 18 home runs. DJ LeMahieu in 63 games hitting 319 with 6 home runs. Stanton is in 60 games hitting 275 with 10 home runs. Rizzo in 34 games hitting 241, a little low, but 8 home runs. Jose Trevino in 21 games is hitting 417 with 3 home runs against the Orioles.
No way. How many home runs?
3. That is
very good for your catcher. Those are some numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, don't the Yankees always beat up on the Orioles?
I was surprised that Gleyber's numbers were not better. I will be honest.
He'll make them better this weekend.
I'm surprised that Gleyber and Judge's numbers were 310 and 317
I will
with
say
35 home runs and 18 home runs.
Very, very interested to watch how Gleyber goes. Just performs from here on out. I will watch his career with great interest.
For those that do not know, I was such a big Gleyber Torres fan. 2019, favorite player by far. Then 2020 and 2021, that just hurt me so much.
Yeah.
I believe last year he had a much better year than people realize. And it's funny because Eric, if you're watching this, my cousin, I texted him, it's a great day to be 2 of the only Gleyber Torres defenders out there. Because it's like, people got to realize.
People turn on players so quickly.
Dude, he is 26 years old.
Right.
Calm down.
And he's been in the league for how long?
Yeah, he hasn't been in the league for that long. Most people aren't going to be like Julio Rodriguez, Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, where they just Judge, Alonso, where they just come up and they're like one of the best players on the game.
Right.
That does not happen. Gleyber, he did that for a while. You saw that potential, and it was just thing like injuries, like kind of like getting in his own head.
Yeah.
But now he's got a chip on his shoulder. He had a whole offseason to like really just like hone in.
Yeah.
Get all the distractions out of his head. I'm pretty sure he became a father somewhat recently.
Dad power.
Dad power too. I think that he also has shown another level of maturity. Not saying he was immature. Right. You kind of saw like puppy dog eye Gleyber, and he kind of like he wasn't playing well.
Kind of pouting.
You haven't really seen that at all.
Right.
He seemed a lot different. There's so many pictures I'm seeing of him in like the dugout, just like smiling, just like so like.
Again, he's another one of those guys that who's starting to look like He's happy to be there, and he's happy to be playing baseball.
He did not look like he was happy to be there in 2020 and 2019.
I know these athletes are getting paid millions. They're still people. It's still a game. As much as we're invested in it, it's still a game. So it's important to have fun.
Yes.
It's like you said earlier. Baseball is a very mental game. So if you're in your own head, you're gonna perform worse.
Yogi Berra said 90% mental, 50% physical.
Do the math yourself. That equals 100. I checked.
I did too.
But no, he looks great. He looks great.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Be looking forward to these series. Definitely looking forward to Saturday. Going to the game. If they sit Anthony Volpe, I will be
very sad.
Mad.
Very
We'll
schmad.
leave it at that. I don't want to say things that'll get this podcast taken down, so we'll leave it at that. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. Nick's funeral will be tomorrow.
Yes.
My getting sympathy from everyone will be the next day. Yeah, that's pretty much about it.
But yeah.
Yeah. I need a new roommate for next year now.
Again, no Manhattan, so we'll end it here. Hoping for a Mets bounce back.
I'm not.
Obviously. Yankees are going to continue rolling, but thank you for watching and listening. Remember to subscribe, follow us on social media.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Ring that doorbell so you never miss an episode.
Oh,
Rate us on
God.
Spotify. Follow us on all social media, and
See you guys then.
see you next time.